What's going on, everyone? Real Red Politics here. Welcome back to another video on my channel. Before I get into today's video, if you guys could take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It would mean a lot. I'm trying to reach my goal of 300 subscribers by the end of this month, and if I can't reach that goal by the end of this month, I would like that to be the goal for next month. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and be sure to hit that notification bell so that way you guys know when a new video is uploaded. I do my best to upload every week. I've been uploading, I think, at least about one video a week, but I'm going to do my best to get that up to 3 videos a week. I uploaded a video earlier this week on Monday, and I will leave a link to in the top right hand corner for you guys to go check out that video if you guys are interested. And today's video is going to be continuing the What Are My Thoughts series, and this is a series where I discuss political topics and I give my overall opinion on them of, kind of how I like what I think about them, so to speak. And what I've been doing with this series is I've been researching the presidents of the United States in order, and when we get to the end of the list, I'm going to rank every president and where how well they did. When it comes to these videos, I don't normally take into account their like personal lives. I take into account what they did as president, what I thought they did good as president, that kind of stuff. And so the first 2 videos of this series has been uploaded. The first one being George Washington and the second one John Adams. And today we are going to be talking about the 3rd president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, who beat John Adams in the election of 1800 and served 2 terms, which is 1 more term than his predecessor. John Adams only served 1 term. Thomas Jefferson served 2 terms. So we're going to talk a little bit about him today, and if you guys are curious about where I got my information from, the links are in the description below, so feel free to go check out those links. And if there's something I didn't talk about in this video that you'd like to leave a comment on, feel free. And so but without further ado, let's get into today's video. Thomas Jefferson, the 3rd president of the United States, beat John Adams in the election of 1800. So, like George Washington and John Adams before him, he was a founding father. He helped found this country in 1776, and he was also the author of the Declaration of Independence, which I'm sure the majority of you guys are familiar with. And if you aren't familiar with the Declaration of Independence, pretty much I'll kind of give the short answer of what it was the United States declaring their independence from Great Britain, and to have themselves as their own country and kind of separated from another country. So something that Thomas Jefferson was known for was not being a great public speaker, from what I've researched, but he was a great writer, and he was a very good writer from what I've read. And so he was asked if he could draft the Declaration of Independence, and so that is exactly what we got. And some more like kind of cool things I found when I researched was not only was he the author of the Declaration of Independence, but he also, as far as I'm aware, wrote the first bill in regards to religious freedom. So he established the foundation for kind of the basis of what we know is in the First Amendment to the Constitution today. The First Amendment talks about you have the right to freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom to assemble. And that bill that he had introduced in 1786 was part of the grounds for the First Amendment. And of course, there were other things into account that kind of took along with it that the other founding fathers took part in, but that was, something that was really cool. He was one of the first people to really promote and kind of get on the, help get the idea rolling of religious freedom. And so this is why, and this is one of the reasons that we have religious freedom today, is because of Thomas Jefferson, as well as the other founding fathers, of course. But I think this bill really was kind of a major stepping stone in order to get to that point that we have today. And so it allows everyone of their religious beliefs to, have the freedom to practice their, their religious practices, Christians, all that kind of stuff. And as far as I'm aware, Thomas Jefferson he's a big believer in God, and we all know that the principles of this country were founded upon the basis of freedom, and we are all given, as American citizens, our God-given rights that cannot be taken away from us. As much as some people would like to take away certain rights today, like the Second Amendment, we all know that that's not possible because of the Declaration, or because of the Constitution, excuse me. A couple other things that I think are really worth noting. And probably another thing he's really known for is expanding the country. He oversaw expansion with the Louisiana Purchase, and he also supported the Lewis and Clark expedition that occurred. And he was a very big component into expanding the country into the size that we know it is today. And he helped put the country into that direction and expand the land from the 13 colonies that we had at the beginning of the foundation of this country, and he kind of provided the gateway to having the 50 states that we currently have today. And so that's another thing he's known for. If you guys want to go research the Louisiana Purchase and his role in the expansion of the United States, I highly recommend it. It is very interesting, especially if you are interested in American history. And it's also one of the reasons I'm doing this series, is because I enjoy American history, I enjoy war history, all that kind of stuff. And speaking of wars, something that's also interesting to note is Thomas Jefferson was he tried to stay out of major conflicts. Like, he tried to keep his country neutral in the Napoleonic Wars. He didn't want them too involved. He didn't, want his army fighting in the war on either side. He was very neutral. He tried everything he could to kind of prevent that from happening. He opposed a strong central government. He advocated for small government, and he also opposed Alexander Hamilton for that very fact, because Alexander Hamilton believed in big government, and Thomas Jefferson believed that the state, there should be more of a balance of power. There should be a smaller government, and that the states should have more power, that kind of stuff. And so one of the ideas that conservatives have today, including myself, is smaller government is better, and it decreases the likelihood of a tyrannical government. And like I said, he supported Lewis and Clark, and he supported that expedition, which led to many great, great feats in the country as well. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Lewis and Clark expedition, that's something else I highly recommend you check out. I mean, these are all things that I find very interesting, and so I like sharing my thoughts with you guys today. And I just like sharing my thoughts in terms of kind of just different political topics that are worth talking about, and maybe stuff that isn't talked about so much. I know that, as far as I'm aware, historical presidents aren't talked about really all that much. I mean, they're talked about in small details, and they give them the big talk about the big accomplishments that, they had, but, people don't really go into this, the lesser details of these presidents and what they accomplished. And so that's what I try and provide for you guys. And like I said, I just find it very interesting. And he was a member of, back then, what was considered the Democrat-Republican Party, and he was the head of the Republican Party, as far as I'm aware. And like I said, him opposing big government, he was known for having the traditional values that, conservatives hold today. And, even, some neocons might not hold the same values that our founding fathers once had. But, there are still values in conservatives today that, are, stick true to what the founding fathers believed for the country. Thomas Jefferson believed in the pursuit of happiness. He believed in individual liberty. So that's also another gateway to the 10 amendments that we have to the United States Constitution, is he believed in that individual liberty and the right to life, the, like I said, the pursuit of happiness, and like I said, freedom of speech and freedom of religion were two of his biggest principles that he advocated for. And I mean, like John Adams also opposed Alexander Hamilton, a member of his own party. And so, kind of taking this into account, back then people may have had difference of opinions in the party or on, different parties, but they were able to come to an agreement, which is unfortunately something we don't really see in Congress today, or even just among the general public. So, overall, taking his accomplishments into mind, kind of what he stood for, writing the Declaration of Independence, overseeing the Louisiana Purchase and, westward expansion, the Lewis and Clark expedition, all this kind of stuff. What are my thoughts on him? Well, I think people could, I personally, I like Thomas Jefferson. I know when I was younger, I researched Thomas Jefferson for a project, and I've always remembered some of the stuff that I've researched, like the Declaration of Independence and stuff. I just thought he was a really cool guy back then, and even today, I think he's one of the best presidents this country's seen, this country's had. And I think people could take a lesson from Thomas Jefferson, is you can stand up for what you believe, but you can do it in such a civil manner, and that's how he was. He wasn't he wasn't conflicting. He didn't advocate for, war or anything. He was, he was actually known to be a pretty quiet person, but he was strong in what he believed for. He stood firm, and overall, I think in terms of his accomplishments as a president, I think he was one of the better presidents this country's seen. And like I said, people could take lessons from him. And if I had to rank it, I'd probably put him in the A tier, maybe the S tier, maybe. And we'll kind of figure, I'll figure that out when it gets to that point, but we still have the rest of the presidents to talk about. And I'm going to try and upload at least one of these a week, because I know you guys do enjoy these videos, as do I. And so, to kind of summarize, overall, I think Thomas Jefferson was a great president. He oversaw a lot of great things, and, he kind of carved the way for a lot of things that we have today in terms of our rights and individual freedoms. So that's what I had on today's video. That is the third episode of What Are My Thoughts, and this video was in reference to Thomas Jefferson. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It would mean a lot. Like I said, be sure to hit that notification bell so you guys are notified when a new video is uploaded, and you guys can enjoy that video, and you can continue supporting this channel by, like I said, subscribing to the channel if you are not yet subscribed. Continue liking the video and giving me video suggestions. I'm always, I always like hearing suggestions of what, of what video, like type of videos I can, or like what political topics I can research and talk to you guys about. And I'm gonna put a poll out, and if you guys are interested, I have thought about starting a podcast. If you guys are interested, I'm going to put a poll, and if you guys could respond to that poll, that would mean a lot. So thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for more political content coming your guys' way.